All right, you guys liked the last video so much, so we are doing another one. Today we are looking at 5 simple Microsoft Flight Simulator tools that can make your sim life easier. From smoother performance, to faster loading, to better startup workflows, and cinematic camera screenshots. And of course, we're going to talk some control bindings. Got to throw it in there. Some of these are small, some can make a big difference, some are easy, some require a bit more effort, but all of them give you a benefit, so stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together: control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Okay, so now the first tool that we want to talk about today is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 Graphics Assistant. And this one is aimed directly at one of the biggest pain points in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, performance. And I don't just mean chasing the high FPS number possible. This is where a lot of people get themselves into trouble. You can have what looks like a decent frame rate on paper, but the sim still feels rough, inconsistent, just not smooth. You get the stutteries, micro stutters, big stutters, whatever it may be. And this is usually where frame time comes into the conversation. What this tool is trying to do is help you look at the performance of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in a more useful way instead of just looking at FPS. I have said it once, I have said it a million times on this channel. I do not chase FPS, I chase the feel. I almost never use an FPS counter. Everyone's always like, nope, 60 FPS. Nope, you gotta have 60. No, you don't. That's complete horse crap, and I will argue it to anybody who's out there. What you need is smooth, steady, comfortable play. And that's what this does. This focuses more on the stability. That matters because a stable experience at a slightly lower frame rate can often feel better than a high frame rate that is jumping all over the place. You can have 90 frames per second and still have a very crappy experience. The other useful part here is that it can help pinpoint VRAM pressure. Okay, and that is a big deal in 2024, especially if you are running high resolution displays, virtual reality, large texture settings, or heavy scenery. Sometimes in the sim, it's not just suddenly falling apart because your GPU is weak. Sometimes it's because you're pushing the memory of the GPU too hard. Even the memory of the physical machine can be pushed too hard. Okay, and this is the result the result there is going to be what we call hitching, stuttering, uneven frame times, like we were just discussing a minute ago. And these are the things that I chase in my experiences. So the value of a tool like this is not that it magically fixes performance for you. Okay, the value is that it gives you a better information display so you can make smarter decisions based on what settings you currently have in place. Maybe you back off on the textures a little bit. Maybe you adjust your terrain settings. Maybe you realize your FPS is fine, but your frame times suck, right? So for anyone who's constantly tweaking graphics settings in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and still always in the battle, this is a really good tool for you because it's going to give you more information and not just a shot in the dark, peg your FPS and you should be good kind of situation. It's not real flashy, but it's practical, and it's perfect for a sim like this. Practical tools are sometimes the ones that save you the most amount of frustration because we're not focusing on the bells and whistles of the whole shebang. You can see they've really done a really good job of laying things out in an extremely informative dashboard that's going to give you a lot of what you need in order to get what you're looking for. So try this one out. I was fairly impressed with my first experience with it. Definitely brings quite a bit to the table, but I want to know what you guys think down below. Next up is a very simple one, but honestly, this is exactly the kind of quality of life mod that can make a lot of people fall in love with it. This one is called Skip Ready to Fly, and as soon as I found this one, I dropped it in, and I am absolutely in love with it. Do pay attention to the supported versions, right? You have MSFS 2020 that is crossed out. 2024 is where this one lands. And the name pretty much says exactly what it does. In Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, when you load into a flight, the sim stops you at ready to fly. For some people, that is fine. For others, especially if you are constantly testing aircraft, me, testing add-ons, me, making content, me again, checking scenery, restarting flights over and over again, checking new controls, checking new scripts, new bindings, new software, new things that I'm developing, me, and me. This is perfect. This mod is designed to automatically skip that step and take you straight into the cockpit. Honestly, I've never particularly liked the ready to fly thing, even before I started developing Hangar Control, and even before I started pushing into mods and add-ons and tools. I think that there's so many games and simulators that do it. It drives me nuts. It's like, why? Throw me in the damn cockpit. Anyway, so now this isn't going to be some massive game-changing or aircraft scenery package or changing experience, but that's not the point of it. The point is convenience. It removes one of those little interruptions that does not seem like a big deal until you have clicked through it for the 1900th time. For content creators, this can be especially helpful if you are recording, testing shots, screenshots, flights, checking weather, checking liveries, yada yada yada. The same thing applies if you're using other tools that need the sim to be fully loaded before they can do their job. This is one of those utilities that probably will not get a ton of dramatic attention, but once you use it, you might wonder why the sim does not just offer this as an option by default. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, and it's because Microsoft doesn't listen to people. Microsoft likes to tell people what they want. Anyways, sorry, opinion there. That said, with any mod, the UI that changes the UI behavior or skips part of the loading flow, I would still treat it as a quality of life tweak. But again, if you guys are interested, link is down in the description below. The third tool here is called Pre-Flight 1, and this one is probably the most directly useful if your Microsoft Flight Simulator setup has turned into a small command center, like me. Because, well, let's be honest, for a lot of us, launching the sim is not just launching the sim anymore. You might open Microsoft Flight Simulator, then maybe open Navigraph, maybe SimBrief, maybe Beyond ATC, maybe a head tracker, and maybe your hardware software. It might be a weather tool, a map browser, yada yada. After a while, the pre-flight routine becomes its own checklist before you even get into an airplane, and that's where softwares like Pre-Flight 1 comes in. It is described as a startup companion for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And the idea is to automate the launching of your sim, your tools, even your websites in one spot. Now, I am going to put a little blotter in here, is that Hangar Control also does this exact same thing while launching your control profiles. The reason why I wanted to share this one here, though, is because this one is a direct. This is all this application does. So if you're not looking for all the bells and whistles that come with something like Hangar Control, there are other apps that do something very similar with a very nice, clean UI. Funny enough, it actually looks very similar. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm kind of wondering, where that came from. Anyway, it's kind of funny. But anyway, so for casual users, you guys might enjoy this, and it definitely helps with the loading process into your cockpit. So pay close attention to that, guys, because it really does make a difference and shaves a lot of time when you have something like this built in. And the fourth tool is a little different, and this one is called Nusantara Cinema Lite. This is aimed more at the cinematic side of Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is described as a real-time cinematic director tool, giving users a way to trigger dynamic cinematic shots inside the sim. And that is interesting because Microsoft Flight Simulator already has one of probably the most visually impressive platforms out there, but capturing that good footage can be quite a pain in the backside, especially if you don't have something like Chase Plane from Parallel 42, which is a payware. Nice thing about this one is it's not a payware, so it gives you quite the option where you guys can try out different cinematic camera shots without all the bells and whistles and all the expense that comes with some of the more professional tools. So a tool like Nusantara Cinema Lite starts to make sense instead of just sitting with one fixed camera angle, manually spinning your mouse around and trying to catch the shot that you know that you're looking for. For YouTube content creators, this could be ideally useful, as a lot of MSF videos live or die based on the visuals. You might have a great aircraft, great scenery package, or a great route, but if the camera work is flat, then the video feels less polished, and I can absolutely attest to what that's like, and getting those camera shots can take a lot of time. So this is definitely one of those things that may help you all out, or if you're just someone who enjoys catching cool shots. And of course, the final one we're going to talk about here today is Hangar Control, for those who aren't familiar with what it is. Hangar Control is a middleware app that bridges your flight simulator to your physical hardware. And when I say hardware, I mean pretty much everything. Of course, there are a few pieces we don't support, but the Honeycomb Bravo, the Alpha, Windwing FCU, FS, the PAP3, Logitech, SATEC panels, radio panel, multi-panel switch panel, Behringer X-Touch Mini, and we can keep on going all the way through the Wingflex FCU Cube, the RMP, Virpil. You guys get the gist. And it's not just for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hangar Control natively now connects to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, 24, DCS World, and X-Plane 12, and soon to be American Truck Simulator. You set up the separate hangars for each sim with their own profiles, and Hangar Control handles the rest. Speaking of profiles, the profile system is where things really start to shine. You can bind profiles to specific aircraft, and Hangar Control will auto-switch when it detects the new aircraft in any supported sim. Again, MSFS, DCS, or X-Plane, any of the variants. Profile inheritance lets you layer configuration so you're not rebuilding from scratch every single time, and you can duplicate, copy across hangars, and export the entire device configurations. For the Honeycomb Bravo specifically, there's dedicated visuals with full LED control, autopilot indicators, gear positions, annunciators, all driven with the SimVars, LVAR conditions, and button states, as well as many other options based on your choosing. The binding system goes deep in this software. Buttons support single press, hold press, release, step actions, sequences. There's also conditional actions, fire different commands based on flags, LVARs, or Hangar Control variables. There is a reverse thrust system with configurable engage, disengage, step sequences again, repeat counts, delays, axis binding support, segmentation of the axes, dead zones, full tuning, you name it. As well as even changing the output range if you need to. For Microsoft Flight Simulator, Hangar Control reads the full live catalog now of K events, A events, or AVARs, LVARs, B events, H events, all browsable and searchable. With the exception of H events. H events, you do have to know what they are, as they are not remotely displayed through the sim. For DCS, there's a built-in aircraft library with per cockpit command definitions. For X-Plane, we have the X-Plane commands and data refs that are fully supported. And one of the newer features now is a touch panel, a built-in browser-based virtual cockpit panel. You design the panel with buttons, gauges, displays, values right inside Hangar Control, and then open it up on any browser within the network. So it could be your tablet, your phone, your laptop, whatever it may be, and you've just turned it into an interactive cockpit extension with great feedback. It is just as fast as your Wi-Fi is. As long as your Wi-Fi can keep up, so can Hangar Control. I would honestly say that's the only limitation, is the speed of the device and your Wi-Fi. And then for Stream Deck users, there's the Elgato plugin, which gives you live SimVar, state monitoring, icon switching, conditional encoder branching, and full catalog browsing right from the Stream Deck. It also now supports DCS World as well, so you can create full cockpits and bindings and sim variables with button state monitoring in DCS also. There's also a full flag system for runtime state management, HC variables for custom counters, keyboards, chord output, device layers, USB power management, conflict detection for your mods and add-ons. Those are full mods and add-ons, just like add-ons linker and OVGME built into the software, as well as like we were talking with the pre-flight one, Hangar Control has a full system for managing that as well. So in short, we manage all of your control bindings, we manage your stream decks, we now manage your touch panels, such like Air Manager. We also do all of your mods, add-ons, tools, config files, profiles. We back them up. We have a snapshot system where you can back up by file, by folder, by SIM, or by hard drive. And of course, we also manage all of your applications as well. So it is an extremely robust software that is growing every week. Usually we have a update with new features and any fixes necessary each week, sometimes more than one. So if you guys are interested in trying out Hangar Control, again, overkillsimulations.com. There's a 5-day free trial if you're interested, or you can just purchase it outright. Either way, the first step is you must create your account first. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.